I don't know, Jer. I don't know what. I can't believe I'm here for all this. That's sometimes what I think about. I'm like, wow, sweet choice, Celine. Sweet time to just cruise on down. Nice work.
Welcome
to
another
episode
of
As
Woo
As
You
Want
with
Celine and dear
Jeremiah.
That's you. Yeah.
What if we just spent the whole episode just saying the name of the podcast and then just like stopped it?
Yeah. I mean, honestly, it would be pretty meta.
It's like a meditation exercise. Oh, okay. Well, welcome everyone. Welcome back. It's been a bit of a break. We've kind of had a weird schedule the last couple months. I had COVID in May, so that pushed things back. And then we had our interview with Graham. And we have some people lined up, but we thought we would do a little check-in again. This is our annual like year dot so far episode.
Oh yeah.
Started with 2020.
2022.
We're now at 2022. So Celine, how's your 2022 going?
But so let's see. I'm here and I'm still here. And
if you're listening, so are you.
I don't know where I was looking at it, but there was somebody that was like alternatives to asking, how are you doing? Because it's such a of course you can just be like, I'm good, I'm fine, everything's good. But like, there were other like prompts that I thought were interesting that were like, if months were emotions, what month would this be? Or like, what season do you most resonate with? Or if you were an old person, what would be your characteristic? And I was like, these are amazing. Like, I want to start asking people that.
I love that.
Right?
Yeah.
So 2022 has been a cool apocalyptic kind of hellscape, but I'm also relaxed. Does that kind of sum it up for you too?
I think that sums it up. Well, I was thinking it would be nice maybe to just like, you were saying relaxed. So I thought it would be nice if maybe we just took a couple of breaths, invited everyone listening to just kind of...
Sure, let's do it. Let's take 2 breaths together.
Come back into your breath. Come back into your body. Feel your feet.
Yeah.
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 That's been crucial.
Yeah. I was meditating. Remember our meditation episode where I was basically the all-knower of meditation? I've still been doing it.
Good for you.
It's been very nice. Yeah. I think that has been helping a lot in... I don't know. I don't even know what I would call this time. It's worse than I thought.
It's definitely a confluence of events. I mean, we're being in the States, being in America, we are definitely in our Pluto return. I mean, it's, I don't have to talk about the Roe v. Wade situation, but like, it's pretty clear this country is going through some serious turmoil. No doubt.
Yeah.
And then globally, we still have a global pandemic. There's still a war going on, multiple wars going on in the world. There's something called global warming, which we are experiencing very intensely.
I mean, yeah, and like Europe right now, humongous heat wave, humongous fires. And yeah, it's just kind of a tough time to feel really psyched on people who control the world. Yeah. That's what's hard for me. But, you know, I guess it all has to fall. It's just hard to live through a fall, I think, you know?
Yeah. You know what? Actually, this kind of brings me back to, this is a couple of years ago, we stationed about kind of like the larger astrological epochs that happen and how we're like out or coming out of the Capricornian Age and entering the Aquarian Age. And I think Leslie said it was like every 200 or so years. And you had said something that I thought was really insightful, which was something along the lines of like, humanity had to get to this in a certain extent. Like we had to like fully express Capricornian energy in terms of the Industrial Revolution and like just massive material advancement. And I think we're seeing the edges of what that does. And like we have to reconsider the way we function in the world in order to survive now.
Yeah, it's not, what's tough about it is it's not really optional, you know, like we're seeing but you know, listen, if you think more cerebrally, more cosmically, and like it's so tough for me to do this as well, but like there has to be some sort of master plan here, you know, some sort of collective evolution that we're participating in. And I think the thing that I'm coming back to is being very much present in the moment with myself, and then also in my like immediate communities, right? Like, what could I do? How can I participate? How can I be present? How can I be of service to others, to myself, in a way that eases this transition, which, you know, might be a few more years. And I mean, it's fun to like despair and be like a dark horse for me. Like I love that kind of stuff. But at the end of the day, like, you know, it doesn't get you that far. Yeah. I don't think. So yeah, I don't know. There's like so much to say about this time, but then there's like, it's so much like above what I even understand. I really feel kind of clueless.
Yeah, it's overwhelming. It's overwhelming. And a couple of wonderful like astrological podcasts that I've kind of been tuning into to like get a sense of things from that like cosmic weather place is, you know, we've talked about the Astrology Hub podcast, their weekly weather, and also Ann Ortley, obviously, and we'll link those again. But I remember last week, so this was the middle of July 2022, they had on Astrology Hub this woman, Stormy Grace, who is a great astrologer. And she was saying how, I'm not exactly sure what the transits were at the time or are still occurring, but it was something along the lines of like, it's really a time to kind of go inward. And as much that outward is like insane, and I think there's a lot of people who want to fix things, and it doesn't mean you can't fix outside. There's really a lot of work we have been doing on ourselves, and not just work, but like care, you know, just like taking care of ourselves, whatever that means. If it's, you know, doing your meditation prep, or maybe not looking at social media so often, or just like going outside if it's not like 1,000 degrees and like breathing in fresh air and the environment. So it's definitely a reorientation. There's some kind of reorientation happening with the confluence of events that we're experiencing, and very confusing, not clear like how things are going to turn out. And it's just like being human, right? Like we're just in the thick of it and trying to do the best we can.
Yeah. I mean, you know, if we all are kind of living in our own projections of reality, you know, there is a lot of opportunity to kind of time hop or be in a reality that feels a little bit more soothing. I just don't really know how to do that yet, but I like the idea and I believe in the concept. It's just, you know, I don't know. I just don't know. 2022, I mean, in astrology wise, till 2024, babe. Like, things are rocky road till, you know, we're in it.
For America, at least.
We're in it. Yeah. So, nature.
Yeah.
Speaking of nature, I want to talk about the program Alone, which I know, Jer, you've been watching. I've been a pretty big fan of it for a while, and I think it's relevant to what we're saying because I think there's something really interesting about the show in the sense that it's not about survival, really. I mean, of course, they have to feed themselves. Oh, and if you don't know what Alone is, it's this show where 10 participants are dropped off into these remote locations and they can bring 10 items and that's all. And the person who survives the longest gets money. So that's the premise of the show. But what I find interesting about it is I think it really speaks to the human condition of, you know, there are all these really knowledgeable survivalists who can, you know, trap, hunt, start fires, and they're all super psyched in the beginning, but like slowly, one by one, they kind of pop off because they realize the human connection, their family, their loved ones, is really what fulfills them. And I don't know, for some reason, it's been sort of grounding for me to watch the show. I don't know if can you relate to what I just said about it? I think it's an interesting show. I don't know if that's the intent.
I think what's funny is
sort of what I've been getting from it.
Particularly if you watch the earlier episodes, I think it started off as being kind of sensationalist, you know, the way they were treating the graphics and like and it had this air of like any other reality TV show where that's what happens. And it still has some of, but I think they quickly realized, like, you know, these participants, they're no camera crews. They actually film themselves. So it's literally like they're alone. And you quickly realize, like, you're getting deep into people's psyches, seeing people exposed, and you have nowhere to go except your own mind and your own being. And being in nature also allows you to hear your inner voice more clearly. Whereas, you know, where we are, it's like we're just bombarded. I say this all the time. We're bombarded with outside noise. So to just hear from the inside, you get these like amazing revelations people have, personal revelations. And like, kind of to your point, what we were saying earlier, like, it almost does feel like it's kind of straddling the Captain Aquarian divide. It's like, this is the ultimate Captain thing.
Yeah.
Live on the land alone. Do it yourself.
Alone. Make a shelter.
Right. And then like the Aquarian vibe is all about community and like society and being like things for the greater good. And you see how we're not just individuals. Like, humans just don't live alone. They don't. We are social beings, and that's actually like the greatest strength of our species is social cohesion. And you're seeing the failure of that right now on a worldwide scale. So yeah, super relevant.
Yeah. But I think there's something about like also the idea of like going back to nature and understanding the rhythms of the moon and the seasons and the migration of animals. And, you know, some of the people like develop this very like symbiotic coexisting. I become one with this place and this land. And it's been for me pretty much like, how am I interacting with my geography, with the land around me, you know? And like Brooklyn has its own history and its own, you know, history of the people who were here before us. But, you know, it's just been sort of this interesting, I mean, maybe I'm just trying to philosophize alone too much or whatnot, but I do I think for a reality television show, you know, now I know, how to
make a snare, a snare robot.
I know how to make I like know the importance. Like I'm like, okay, I know the 3 top things I need to do.
Because we're prepared for the apocalypse that's coming. No, I mean,
well, but that's kind of, in a way, I'm not saying that will happen, but like, I think it is kind of an interesting thing to dip into. Like, oh, maybe I do need to connect a little bit more and not rely on the industrial complexes that we have that are not working for the environment, you know? Yeah, we're on fire. Mama's mad.
Yeah. And you see very clearly like how removed we are from the land, and just a lot of like different techniques that's lived with for thousands, if not tens of thousands of years, that help them survive and thrive. I loved how you were talking about, you know, on the show, it's sometimes you can pick out pretty quickly, like who's going to make it pretty far and who's not. And I would say, you know, 80 to 90% of the time, person is talking about their experience in a confrontational or antic way, or even a competitive way. Like, I'm going to make it this far. I'm going to just go that distance, versus the flow of it, of like working with the land, like you were saying. It's a huge distinction. And then the other thing related to this is the difference between the men and the women is fascinating.
I mean, like immensely.
Yeah.
Immensely. But, you know, I'm not incredibly surprised. I'm not surprised. But I mean, and in any kind of situation, I think if you lean in to where you are, right, and like not fight it, maybe that's why I'm really into Alone right now. Because a lot of the people who have success and have these really powerful journeys, even if it's like 2 days or 3 days or whatever, like lean in to their situation and like work with it. And maybe it's like my Capricorn mind, or maybe it's my like solution brain, but like right now feels very much, it's not like Alone, but it kind of is. It's really like dark and challenging, and you don't really know what you're doing. And maybe the idea of leaning in to this and like being malleable with it and not trying to fight it or control it or accept, I don't know. I just thought
that's
now.
Interesting. Well, I also think the irony of being so quote unquote connected is you can feel very alone. And I do hope that like part of the pod is allowing people who are like-minded to know that you're not alone. You know, that you're not alone in living the way you live, or thinking the way you think, or being and then also like there's just so much. I'm an optimist, and I just feel like a majority of the people in this world is good and just want to like live peacefully and like prosperously. And there's like a handful, and when I say handful, I mean, obviously like millions and millions, if not billions of people are like, I don't know, whatever. But like there's a minority is what I'm getting at, basically.
Okay.
In that, what you're seeing is not everything. It's very easy to look at your phone and think that that's reality, and it's not. It's not reality. It's aspects of reality.
Well, for some people it is.
Yeah, but it's aspects of reality, but it's not the totality of reality. You know,
right?
You can fall into these real life. That's what they call them.
Yeah,
they call
that's
it
like media machine.
They call it doom scrolling. It's like, and I mentioned this before, it's profitable to be in fear. It's profitable to make people afraid, because then that gives these, you know, media outlets leverage to whatever it is, either grab you or sell you things to make you feel like you're more safe or whatever. And I don't know, that's where I feel like the self-work comes in, the kind of self-care.
Well, yeah. I mean, I think there's an element of disengagement that you kind of have to have in this time with media. Absolutely. And it's a tricky line because we're so media focused, you know, even with businesses, Instagram, TikTok, you know, it's almost, it's backfired. It's backfired against us, you know, like we created the internet to connect and educate and be a community, and it's actually creating more fear and insecurities and you know, I mean, and we use social media a lot.
I don't can be you know, just completely antagonistic to technology. I think there's aspects of technology that are wonderful and it can be used in a positive way. And people are used by it. I totally, you know, see that as well. It's just Collins, you know, and also to your point earlier about like, you can leverage these tools, you know, to spread positivity, to spread love, to spread healing.
Right.
Yeah, it's not like one or the other, but like, I don't know. I think it leans very heavily in a negative direction. That's why I'll look at, there's certain like websites where you'll see the things that are happening in the world that are actually like good. Which like, if you look at most newspapers or news outlets, it's like usually bad. It's not usually good.
I think that's just where it's going and how it's been for a really long time. And I think people are more aware because they have more of a voice to say, I don't know, this is kind of cool what's happening over here. So I think this will just amplify and get even more. So it would, I mean, sometimes I think about not even having it, you know?
It's just important to be really conscious of like how much you're looking at your phone or how much you're on your computer, and like what you're mentally and psychically ingesting every day is massive.
Yeah, totally. You have to be very boundaried about it and specific time frames, organized. Yeah.
Speaking of which, you started a TikTok for your acupuncture practice.
I just talked about all this stuff.
But I agree.
Well, you have a TikTok for yours.
I have a TikTok. I vacillate on like how often, but it's important to also have like positive voices out there, you know, for people to see.
You know what's fun too is that I like really work hard to curate my social medias to like fun stuff or like positive, right? So like calm or haunted, spooky Victorian houses in, you know, Salem, you know, like so I try to curate it a lot. But yeah, I did start a TikTok. I am almost 40, so you're welcome, world. I know. Yeah, I don't know, Jer. I don't know what. I can't believe I'm here for all this. That's sometimes what I think about. I'm like, wow, sweet choice, Celine. Sweet time to just cruise on down. Nice work.
Yeah, I mean, if you do believe in that, then if you believe in the the soul or oversoul or astral beings and stuff like that, then yeah, to some part of you chose this life. But there's also an aspect of that that's like, this is our opportunity.
I know. That's what I keep trying to come back to, you know?
Yeah. Like our parents.
I keep trying to come back to that.
Their grandparents' generation, like they had to deal with like the world wars and Vietnam and the 60s and all that. And it's like, this is what we're dealing with. We're dealing with.
Right.
I don't know. All sorts of stuff. 9/11, just global warming. And, you know, it's up to us to do what we can to shift things. On that note, I will say, please register to vote. Please register to vote. Please register to vote. I know people think that voting doesn't matter. In America, it really matters. And I would also just want to say, because I am relatively, I don't know, I'm not going to say I'm like active politically, but I know our local politics decently. And even in New York, where, you know, obviously it's clearly a blue state, there are differences between the candidates. And, you know, we had a pray for our governorship a couple weeks ago, and like there are differences between those candidates. Every vote really, really counts.
I mean, I think especially my 2 cents on that is your local elections matter a lot. And so definitely try to get involved in that, because that's really what will really guide the next few years of your communities and your towns. And it's not just like the primaries that matter. So get out and get your little tushes to vote, y'all.
Social media and the internet for good.
We're
trying to activate people.
See, look at this. Look at us.
Yeah. It's just been wild, you know. People are
It's been hard.
Yeah, still experiencing COVID. Like the BA.5 variant right now is happening in New York. Like the reason I'm recording here, not in my studio, is because of that. So, you know, it's not over. So just please be careful. Please get vaccinated. Get boosted, all the things.
Yeah. Just try to still care a little. That's my, please.
Yeah.
Please.
Yeah.
Please.
We're not out of it. And also, like, I've been thinking about that a lot too. Like, it's been 2 years since this global pandemic. And I just think it's going to be a while before we really have perspective on what we're all experiencing, because this whole thing is a global traumatic event.
Years. Yeah. It'll be years, you know. It will be years until, you know, processing, understanding, seeing how much life changed, how much we changed. And, you know, maybe not necessarily for the worst. I mean, lifestyle-wise, I don't mean that almost 1 million people in the United States died.
Yeah.
But, you know, did you ever see during the pandemic, do you remember Lisa Frank when we were younger? Okay. So there was this like meme that went around talking about social media that was like a Lisa Frank picture where it was like dolphins in a, you know, a sea, and everything was like pink and orange and da 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 da. And the meme was, nature is rejuvenating. Meaning like, you know, like nature's getting back to like what it is, because all the humans are kind of like, you know, confined and not flying and stuff. But like, even though that's funny, I do feel like there's an immense truth to that, you know, like, and even with global warming and the devastation that we will like live through in the next few years because no one's doing anything, you know, maybe Mother Earth will just, you know, go back to what she wants to be.
Yeah.
And we'll have to adjust.
I think that's something that people forget, or the way it's framed is silly, where it's like the Earth is dying. The Earth's not dying. I mean, species are dying.
No, we
are
are.
dying.
We
The
will
Earth
die.
is going to evolve, and species are going to evolve. We're just killing ourselves. We're killing a plant, like the way this planet has. It's habitable to humans. This is our own self-destruction. And yeah, I don't think people are aware of that. It's not out there. We're a part of it. We are this. We are a part of the world, and we have to be good stewards. And there's plenty of things we can do on a micro level. I'm not going to say that's going to fix it on a macro level. There's massive changes that need to happen. But actually, I'll talk about with the amount of plastic that we all use, right? So even really tiny things, I know I'm not like changing the world, but I started buying like bars of soap instead of bottles of soap just to lessen the amount of plastic bottle usage that I'm accruing, or like using there's like natural kinds of flosses instead of synthetics, dental floss, that if you get coffee or tea or something, like try to use a reusable cup. I know it's still COVID, but most cafes at this point allow you to do that now again. Just like little things like that. No, it's not massive, but it is sucking up litter now and then. It does make a difference. It does make a difference,
I don't know. I'm pretty jaded about this.
Yeah, I think most people are.
While I love I love recycling and stuff, but like even just recently they rejected this major climate bill in Congress to, and like we can do things literally in our little communities in our lives. Yes. But like if these major corporations don't get their shit together, nothing, it doesn't matter. And like, I don't know, maybe that's fatalistic, but like I do recycle, and I do like use, like, I actually, weirdly enough, you're mentioning this, I just have this.
If people,
there are all these like little recycle. Yeah, someone gave it to me. Little.
So they're like wood utensils.
Wood utensils that I can just, maybe I'll just start bringing it to restaurants with me. Just eating.
Well, restaurants have utensils.
I just mean,
like
yeah, but I don't know. That's kind of my vibe on.
You're right. I mean, there's macro changes that have to happen, and that, again, please register to vote. Like that.
Right. Well, that's why it matters.
That's why it matters. That's why it matters. And again, like there are differences if you're of the liberal persuasion between Democrats, even in New York. I know for a fact there are your run-of-the-mill Democrats, and they're actual Democrats who are liberal and progressive. So
progressive, yeah. I feel like the progressive is the key there.
Yeah, for sure.
So, I mean, I think we fixed it.
Yeah. Okay. No, I was going to say it was a really wonderful quote I wanted. Speaking of social media, just like this Instagram account. Let me see if I can find it. So this is, I mean, maybe this is going to be esoteric. So you'll either love it or hate it. But there's and I'll link this Instagram account. But these are the types of things where like I try to surround myself with things that are positive or enlightening or things like that. So this account posts a lot of Ramana Maharishi, who is an Indian saint from like the mid-century. He has a quote here that said, "The mind has always this sort of difficulty. It wants a certain theory to satisfy itself. Really, no theory is necessary for the man who seriously desires to approach God or to realize his own true being." So the reason I say that was just your comment, like, we fixed it.
I mean, I was obviously being sarcastic.
I know you were being sarcastic, but I'm just saying, like, there's a tendency to try and wrap things up in a neat little package. And
sure,
the reality is there's not any neat little package. Like, reality is messy, and that's what we're experiencing right now. Theory that's going to encapsulate that all, even though, you know, we use certain ideologies or methodologies to come to certain understandings, nothing's clear what is.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's essentially going back to, you know, a less dogmatic, rational, trying to organize everything, you know? And it's exactly, I feel like that really encapsulates our whole conversation today, right? Like, not trying to theorize and understand and, you know, 1 + 1 = 2. Yeah, true. But like, I don't know if that really works anymore. You know, maybe we got to go bigger. We got to go wider, go up, go down, go in, you know? So yeah, it's kind of the end of that kind of cycle of our, you know, the human evolution, you know, the Industrial Revolution, and then here we are now, and it's like, I think there's a little gear switch. So I don't know. Just think about it. Ease into it. Try it out. Lay on the ground. Lay on the ground. It's my go-to.
I like it.
Go-to. Well, any like updates from you? Do you have anything you want to tell everybody? Do you have any new things, ideas, practices?
Any updates?
I don't know. It's a good question.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, it's going strong.
Good.
Exercising is really important.
Running? Are you running still?
Running when it's not like insane out. Been doing more weightlifting, which has been really good. You know, just building up.
Very good.
Yeah.
Very good for the bod.
Yeah.
Very good.
Yeah, I mentioned this, but like, you know, when COVID hit, I do yoga once a week. Once a week, and with Elias actually, who's on our podcast. And if you haven't listened to that episode and you're interested in yoga, go to our Elias Lopez episode. He's just the best. But like COVID, I stopped, you know, the whole world. I think do yoga for about 6 months or so. And I noticed how much my balance was like off. And just like how I just felt like misaligned energetically, like so much.
Yeah.
So yeah, I highly recommend yoga for people if, you know, you have balance issues or, you know, flexibility issues, or energetically things feel like kind of askew. Doing yoga is such an amazing, amazing tool. So that's my little plug.
So rad.
Yeah. So
it's great.
What about you?
You know, my old roommate, who lives downstairs, had a spin bike, and then they got a Peloton, and they gave me their old spin bike. So this girl has been cycling. It's super fun. Here's why I love it, because I love listening to music, and they pedal to the beat, right? And so, yeah. So if you like, and they have like different genres and rides and levels of difficulty. And so it's like it's fun, you know, when you sweat a lot and your endorphins go up. So I'm like, you know, I did it this morning and I was just like, you know, done. So that's been really cool. My meditation is still keeping me here on Earth, which is nice. You know, I am working on doing a workshop with that's like an introduction to palmistry. So keep your little peepers peeled for that. Yeah. So yeah, that's sort of the updates. I'm into that stuff. My plants are still alive. And I'm still here.
That was full circle, by the way, because we started with, we're still here. You're still here. So I think that's a great way to end.
Yes.
We're still here.
We're still here. We hope that you're still here. And we just want to send you like a big cosmic squeeze. And, you know,
lots
if you
of
feel
love.
alone, reach out to a friend or something,
Not alone.
So,
but watch alone.
Not alone, but watch alone. And we love you.
We love you. All right. Take care, everyone. We're excited for our next episode with a really wonderful guest. So stay tuned. Love you all. Stay cool.
Bye.